Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Unfairly back here with some more Marathon PvP content. Today we're going to be getting into a highly requested video. This is a few of my experiences this week at the Cryo Archive rotation. I had a lot of really good teammates that kind of showed me the ropes of the map, the kind of game flow and the outplay potential that this map has. That obviously comes along with the consistent combat that you're going to experience between AI bosses and of course the many teams that are on Cryo Archive. So let's get into it right here. The first three clips are actually going to be back to back, so they are all from the same game, so you guys will kind of get the flow and how often combat happens and really the awareness of which you need to have during these games because of that constant combat and that constant threat around you. So let's get into it here. We're just starting off this match, 26 minutes, you can see here. We're rotating out of our first kind of spawn room. We had a good comm from the teammate, instantly a tag. You can see how much information that passes to our teammates that may be completely unaware of what's happening. Getting those tags, those whether it's a player or just a location in those comms off the rip, just getting everybody as ready as fast as possible is crucial. And so quick pause, I'm going to try to pause a little bit less throughout these clips, but you can see this is what you do. When one teammate has the advantage and gets it down, me and my other teammate Transep, we instantly are rushing in. We're overpowering and we're instantly taking advantage of the down that we got. You want to instantly create pressure when you get these types of downs. And so we gotta get damaged. I don't have the best shot. And so again, we're gonna take the quick soft reset. I didn't take as much damage as I thought, so I'm kind of fumbling around my meds just to not take the pan kit, just take like a smaller med. But again, those super soft resets, just get yourself aware of the situation, and we're gonna use that soft rotate, or that soft kind of pause to rotate. And just like we've talked about, take another peek that they're not expecting you. He's expecting my sight line and us to be peeking from over here. And so just by doing that kind of soft rotate around while healing, I'm getting two things done at once in the same amount of time. And then I end up also coming out in an advantage position where I get shots on him and I'm able to take him down. Again, keeping up those tags. You can see that those tags just continue to update the information that me and my teammate have. I'm going to take the smart, again, a kind of a soft flank, always popping up at a place where the enemy is not expecting you. I will always re-peek after shooting someone from a position, from a different position. I will never ever re-peek from the same exact position unless it's almost a 99% chance that with that next peek, I'm going to kill him, as in he's 1 HP. But you generally never want to re-peek the same position, especially in ranked or higher tier kind of matches like Cryo, because people expect that. People are just going to be hard scoping on where you last saw you. So here, I didn't think that this person was chasing. We're kind of going to do a little bit of a evade here. Kind of a small thing. When you get that tracer drone on you, it kind of comes to you, and once it gets close to you, it stops within a certain proximity of you, and then it shoots up kind of like a bouncing Betty and explodes. When it hits that point where you can tell it paused and got close enough to you, you can instantly turn around and sprint, kind of slide away, and you will not take any of the blast damage like you just saw there. I was 1 HP, and so if I didn't do that kind of evasive maneuver, I would have just been down there, and it would have been just my last teammate Transept with not too much health. So those little small game mechanics, again, all these little kind of tips, when put together, they're going to make you a complete or a more whole competitor. And so I kind of just, being that it's the last person, I know that we have the advantage with the 2v1, even though one of my teammates was very low and I also was very low. He ended up going down. But just because of the situation, I mean, we know that we talk a lot about being very cautious and really thinking about things before you commit. But in these situations where, like we talked about at the beginning of this clip, when you get a down or when you have any sort of advantage and time is of the essence and you don't have, it's not a 3v1 or by any means. It was a 2v1 with both of us having very low health. This person, the last enemy, could have very well clutched on us if we didn't play that appropriately. So when my teammate went down, I knew that it was that kind of extra check mark, an extra kind of approval to go over the top and kind of make not a stupid play, but really make your play in the moment. And so that's why I kind of slid in here pretty aggressive, you know, always sliding in, keeping our hitbox really low, and knowing that Transep probably did some damage right before he got down. I'm just going to run in with the shotgun and put him down real quick. Make sure that this doesn't drag out into something that we didn't want it to, or something longer than we had initially thought. So this is the next clip. It is a kind of a later fight. We actually just kind of got in a sloppy AI and jumped on by players fight. One of our teammates ended up going down. We did get a few kills over here. You can see the body bag. So we're kind of hunkered into this side. Again, keeping our backs to the unknown, containing the unknown, putting everything that we don't know and we want to know ahead of us. So the minimal chance that there's something unknown or we get snuck in the back. So you can see we're kind of just being quiet, listening, getting our audio cues. We're hunkered down in this corner here. Very small amount of places that we can be shot by or surprised by besides right in front of us, like you can see. So we're going to hunker even more. We're going to take really close cover. You can see how I'm holding that corner, ready to dip behind it at any sort of notice. Again, grenades, so important. When you get damaged like that and they run away and they don't really have too much cover out there. It's pretty open. So I know that they kind of moved over to the left and they're hanging in the corner just like I am, just on the opposite side. And so those grenades always, whether it's going to be for something like if you get it down and you're still in combat, or you're getting shot by AI and you can't kind of commit the time to putting the person down and ensuring that they don't self-revive, throwing the grenade there while keeping yourself kind of covered in this corner is so useful. And you'll start to understand why the grenade spam meta is the way it is, just because it's so useful with either getting preliminary damage so you can run in and finish them off with your weapon, or like you said, if someone went down and you need to get the finish on them without exposing yourself, you can do that. Or just like in this clip where I do a little bit of damage with my gun and I kind of have an idea of where he's hiding, so I can just kind of mindlessly throw a grenade over there and let it finish him off without me having to kind of expose myself and make a bad play. We're going to make the big three decisions. We're going to use an ability and we're going to heal. One thing I do want to point out here, and that actually I did mess up a few times this weekend in a few pretty significant scenarios. Taking your heals doesn't mean that you're healed. Look how much heals. I've taken really good heals, but it takes time to charge, obviously. And so I have a really bad habit of taking those heals and thinking that I'm instantly at 100% and I start rushing in. So this could have gone really bad. You really want to just let your heals cook. Just because you took and activated the heal does not mean that you're in a position to fight again. Here I get very lucky, and I know that kind of that person was there and self-revived. On the first kind of re-peek, I saw that little kind of sliver of his teammate there. And so that's kind of how I knew that the last person or another person was there. You can see how we're kind of hunkering down. I'm in the corner as far as possible to avoid that grenade spam, even hiding behind kind of a structure there. This is an interesting play because we have two people down, and then we have the third one is kind of lurking or missing in action. Knowing that both of my teammates are down and that we likely have two teammates down, I'm going to say that even though it is traditionally a 50-50 fight here, an even kind of traditional fight, I want to continue the momentum that we have of taking down his two teammates and just finish it. I don't want this to drag out any further. I don't want to be in another 10-minute solo v solo kind of listening battle. So that's the reason I'm going to take this aggressive push and try to end it right here, right now, knowing that we also do have more bodies on the ground that we can loot. So I'm kind of like looking for anyone who may have self-revived. I'm not actually looking for the third person really yet. He ends up actually jumping back into the smoke, which is a very bad decision, being that he's not an assassin. And so he kind of gives me the win there, and we end up getting a bunch of bodies. So for this next clip, you may see that this is a pretty similar area. This is where we just ended up finishing that last clip. We're looking through a little bit of the loot. We're grabbing a couple teams worth of loot that we have now. my teammates giving out really good comms. This is something also that in ranked and cryo that you want to, I mean, really any match, you want to understand how many teams you've killed, how many teams have exfilled, and how many teams have potentially been killed by the teams that you have killed, but just by judging on their loot. How many shields do they have? Do they have extra weapons, extra backpacks? And so my teammates kind of working the numbers to see, is there even a team left? Can we kind of roam around with a little care, a little caution in the world, or is there really that one team that could still be here, or maybe the last person that went and res their team that we have to keep our minds in the back of our minds, and you're going to see that pay off, that intuition.
Yeah, they don't have guns, so they definitely don't have to team. You know what I mean?
And you can hear that audio very prominent, especially when on metal or in kind of vents. You're going to hear that footstep audio, even if they're crouched or trying to make themselves as quiet as possible.
Good. Nading.
We instantly get 2 down, and you can see just the kind of cover that I'm sitting behind. I'm always kind of regressing into cover and making sure that my shots are hitting their hitbox while they have the least amount of chance to return fire and hit my hitbox. So he's going to go down. I'm going to back up a little bit. I see how my teammates are so low, and so if they go in, I want to be able to ensure that I am not going to take like an extra amount of damage here and we're all 1 HP. I want to make sure that at least one of us is full HP to make sure that this last person doesn't clutch up. And you can see we start getting into this kind of tunnel where the grenades come in. There's nowhere to get away from them. Both teammates go in. I'm going to throw down the smoke to allow my teammates cover to at least get themselves up and heal. And I'm going to kind of cautiously move in. I'm going to first kind of ego check just to make sure he's not ego pushing, which we get a hit marker here through the smoke, which kind of shows that he was thinking of pushing now that he had 2 down. But I'm going to take the step further and continue while my teammates are both up, knowing that they have the smoke to heal in and giving them time. I'm going to ensure that he's not going to make another dumb push and try to finish us all, maybe get a lucky play on us. And you're going to see that it pays off. He ends up resing his teammate. I put him back down. Look at the patience, though. Sitting back here waiting for the teammates to come in. And we end up putting him down. That was a scenario where they had the full advantage of us in terms of we just got out of a fight. Our faces are buried in the loot. We're healing. We're not ready to take another fight. We are cognizant of it, but we're really not prepared to commit to one. And just being aware that there is another team on top of always looking out for your audio cues in terms of like the steps, the crouch steps, the reloads, the abilities, even med drones. We heard those people and we were so ready for them. They really didn't even know what hit them, even though we didn't even know they were there until the last second.
I got you. I got it.
So here, this is kind of another clip. We're fighting. I started to get a bad feeling, and I started to move away, just because I think that they had some sort of the compiler goop gun. So I'm kind of watching how the scenario plays out. The teammate goes down, and I can feel that they're rotating. Not only towards us on our corner over here where we initially went down, but I can see that the shots are starting to come from across the room. And so that indicates to me that they're rotating around and trying to encircle what's left of us in terms of me and my teammate here. So I'm going to regress. I was lucky to be the first person kind of farthest away from the scenario. So if that is a scenario where you find yourself in where it is very low likelihood that you survive, you always kind of want to have that person that can be the bug out person. You know that they're a good rat. You know that they can either try to clutch up by making the play, by killing the other enemies, or they have enough time, or they have enough kind of brain power or wit, map knowledge, what have you, to rat out the game and come back, revive you guys, and then get out, maybe scrap loot a little bit. But just at least you get to it, can you successfully exfil, especially in ranked. That's super important, where it does save your ranked points, even if you exfil without a holo tag. So yep, that tag confirms that we were getting fully surrounded. They were flanking. Even though my teammates' comms are telling me that there's one really close to me and down in the urgency, you kind of have to maintain your own flow. Kind of let all of it go back into the background noise. I'm not going to overexpose myself off the rip, not knowing if there's maybe one on the left, one on the right as well. I'm going to wait until he makes this mistake. And this is a very short clip, but it has a lot of insights, and I just want to kind of go through them here. I'm going to pull out the shotgun, knowing that he's going to peek. Gold shields. I don't instantly take him down, but he doesn't instantly take me down. knowing that I'm the last person here, this team having all of their teammates up are going to be over aggressive. And as we've talked about so many times, you can punish over aggression very, very consistently. It is what makes better players in better scenarios or better situations with the advantage over you. It makes them lose that advantage, and you'll see how I do it here. So we just traded shotgun shots, and knowing again that they're going to be aggressive and kind of ego peek it, I'm expecting him before he even does it. He does recede after I give him a big hit, but I know that when I run right here, there's no cover. I'm going to be running for at least 10 meters with my back exposed before I can get to a piece of solid cover. And so what do? I decide not to turn my back to him. And because of his aggression, he didn't heal. Knowing that I'm the last person here, he thought that he could just re-peek me and I would be scared enough to run and he can shoot me in the back and just finish the fight. But no, I am someone who recognized his aggression. I recognized his flow of the game and I matched it, just like we've talked about in so many videos. And I put him on his ass when he thought that that was the easiest kill of his life. His teammate comes in, probably because he's screaming out that I'm 1 HP, and his teammate comes in with a shotgun thinking I'm a little closer, shoots 2 shotgun shells which either miss or are not close enough to hit me, and he doesn't even have time to switch to his other weapon and put good shots on me because my crosshair placement trying to put down his teammate to prevent any sort of extra information being passed along about my position or my health or my shields. My crosshair is already right here. I don't have to flick around to instantly start engaging him. I literally have the smallest micro adjustment in my, I don't even stop shooting. I just continue holding on the trigger and have my aim on point and end up putting him down and quite frankly embarrassing these people.
Finish it, finish it, finish it! The other one? No fucking way, no!
So that's a couple clips that I had from my weekend at Cryo Archive. This was definitely my most prosperous one in terms of loot and levels gained. This was definitely the biggest kind of learning session that I've had, having such good kind of leaders like Transept, Delta, and Abstract amongst a few others. They really kind of built me up, and I could go into any map and be a great fragger, but knowing the map kind of game flow and the outplay potentials and the flanks, it's something that if you ever have a chance to play with someone who's experienced on these types of maps, whether it's in ranked or in cryo, you always want to try to kind of siphon as much information as you can, just to, of course, like we've always said, the ultimate goal is to make yourself a more full, complete solo player so that you will dominate more in solo lobbies and that you will ultimately contribute more to any sort of trio or team that you're a part of. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I appreciate your support more than you all know. We have more cryo and more ranked, and also some more content with the new free kit PvP playlist, which is super awesome, and it's really boils down to skill, decision making, and map knowledge. So I'm super excited to get some content out about that stuff for you guys and really get you some kind of mechanics that you can utilize without having the best weapons and shields in the game. We'll show you how to win fights that way. So thank you guys again so much. I hope you have a great week, and we'll get some more videos out.